Hola,
¿Cómo
hola.
estás? Hola.
I'm tart. I'm tardy. I'm tardy to the party.
Well then, well, thank you. Okay,
Good morning and welcome to another edition of RoadHouse Live. We're live. Today is January, I'd say January 17, 2024. So, some idiot vendor decided to make a bet on a Chinese ticker yesterday, thinking that, the data would be bad enough for Xi to be like, you know what, maybe I should do something to where my country doesn't suck donkeys. Um, I was wrong. They didn't want to do nothing. He's just like, no, it's cool. It's cool, guys. We can go down. It's fine. It's fine. So yeah, no. Hang down 4% overnight. So that's something to go put in your sales. Um, I'm gonna say probably not so great. Probably not so great as far as cheaper money coming into play. I don't know that that's something that you can look at this data over and over and over again and think that they're going to be cutting rates, especially if you look over in some of the CPI data that's come out. It seems stuck, dude. It seems stuck. It seems like it's in one of those places to where it really um, is going to have a hard time pushing down further unless there is a cool off in spending. It's like one of the things about retail sales, and it's like the lady and I were talking about this morning before they came out. I was like, man, it's like they're gonna dump this thing. And she was like, why? Retail sales should be good. And she was like, oh, well that'll have an impact on the dollar. The dollar should moonshot. And I was like, why do you think retail sales are going to be good? She was like, do you remember the credit number, the revolving credit number that came out a couple of weeks ago? That was absolutely crazy. It's like these numbers should smash. She was right on weakness this week. I did wrote about it on Sunday that I expected there to be a level of weakness within the markets this week. What I didn't expect is for certain some pockets of tech to be absolutely just thick. It's like look at AMD yesterday, look at Nvidia yesterday, look at a lot of these. When I was kind of just perusing through some of the tickers, it's like Microsoft was barely uh, um, red at the point. Netflix was positive at one point this morning, even with the markets being down. It's like there is not a direct through line to all of this, in my opinion, and it kind of leaves you wondering, what exactly are we doing with this chart? You look at it at a 4 hour, you look at a 1 hour. It's like it doesn't look bullish to me, to my eye. You look at it daily, it's like that. I don't know how bullish that is unless it goes. And so far, it doesn't want to go. Last thing I'll say, Benner, and I'll flip it over to you. We have Barr who should be speaking here in the next few minutes. Last thing I'll say is like this move down today. Stonk, are you here?
Yes, sir.
So usually there's like a telegraph as far as flow is concerned. Did they telegraph this gap down?
No, I mean, I was even saying the last SPX guys wanted to gap up. They went
Right.
calls for today.
Yeah. Yeah. And even the after hours flow last night was more leaning towards the upside. Um, Kind of neutral to upside. So it's like this is one of the few times, very few times that I can look at the market from one day to the next and being like, man, something is afoot. Something is afoot. Something was different about this whole thing. I don't know whether or not people expected, some type of stimulus to be pumped into China. I don't know if they expected, this retail thing to be kind of like shrugged off from the standpoint of the strength in the dollar. But to be fair, we have seen strength coming back into the VIX, right? We've seen it. It's there. It's on the flow machine. And the dollar is throwing up superhuman strength. You see that too, right? Somebody?
Yeah. Yeah,
What's-
it popped
what's
out of
going on?
a little thing yesterday.
Yeah, there was a little thing and it popped. You have a lot of experience with that stuff? Little things popping?
Poppers. Gotta watch out for those. Kill your brain cells.
Right on. All right, so Bender, you got anything for us?
Yeah, I'm gonna try here. We've got my power went out this morning.
Why don't we go to Sonny, let him run news, and then you can run through your stuff. Does that make more sense?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
All right, Sonny, what you got, man?
Morning, everyone. So, Apple surpassed Samsung as the largest smartphone seller in 2023. Imagine that. They were talking about, hey, Apple's phone sales are declining. People are not ordering the iPhone 15 and the 14 and whatnot. So, miracles do happen, I guess. Or the data is fudged. Either one of those. Tesla lowered their Model Y prices in Germany. They're trying to compete with Volkswagen and BYD. So, probably led to this little gap down here on Tesla. Coinbase. So today, interesting on Coinbase.
Well, to be
so
fair,
they
Tesla has
are
gapped down on good delivery
pretty much every
numbers.
day.
They've
past
gapped
week.
down on pretty much anything that comes out. So I don't know if there's a direct association there, but
I know, yeah.
but
Kinda,
we'll
yeah,
just we'll
it's
just roll
weird.
with it. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of making it inverted head and shoulder. Maybe it'll pop. Who knows?
Yeah, that's what I'm
It
still
popped
looking for
yesterday.
that. I'm looking for that reversal flow. I want to slap, a nice out of the money upside YOLO for ER. It's like I
Yeah.
really want to do that. Still looking for it.
Well, I'll be waiting for you when you announce it.
Yes.
Thank you. So Coinbase, interesting today would be because they are in battle with SEC regarding whether tokens are securities or not. I think the decision's going to be coming out today, or some sort of headline's going to be coming out on that today. So definitely watch CoinFlow. We've seen CoinFlow like lots of puts and things like that, but look for that announcement headline whenever that comes out. Should be a nice mover in coin either way. Western Digital, we've seen a lot of flow on that yesterday. Most of it was ER flow. I think it's either early next week, but these were further out date wise. So they got a double upgrade. Price target's been raised to 65, and in the same sector, Seagate, they got a hold rating. So Western Digital also is looking to buy a Japanese firm. They keep going back and forth. The buying it, or the deal's going to go through or not go through, things like that. Watch for that headline also. ASML is facing more restrictions on exports to China. So ASML makes these fab machines that are required to make advanced chips, things like that. They're one of the two manufacturers of this machinery. So under the U.S. guidance, they've been told to not to ship to China, and so far they've been holding back. Copper. So I talked about this yesterday. Rio Tinto had talked about how iron ore exports have shrunk as well as copper prices were going up. So copper drops to 5-week low because the demand is waning, and this is probably has to do with China real estate market things. So that's another sign of hey, how is China doing? What are they doing for rebuilding? So watch copper prices. I've never watched it, but if your thing, do your thing.
So, Sonny, doesn't that go back to the overall? You start getting a surge in commodities,
Yep.
and that's going to put additional. You take surge in commodities like that. You're talking about copper, which is a big piece of. I think people start watching copper as far as whether or not the economy is how the global economy is working, but supply and demand becomes a different question. But that puts additional pressure on inflation and getting it back to that target, doesn't it?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Times.
if you are a commodities watcher, copper, iron ore, things like that. Definitely worth watching. Yesterday's news was we saw this big price drop in Spirit Airlines SAVE after their merger was blocked with JetBlue. So now they're talking about they may have to file for bankruptcy if they cannot find another buyer. They just don't have the money to keep the planes flying. They may have to do a lot of asset sales to make up to stay in business. But Chapter 11 looks more and more certain if they can't find another buyer in the next couple of weeks or so. And that was a nice drop on it. So, but they're looking, doesn't look nice for this cheap airline. That's it.
But it's like, to be fair, have they ever had, the door
Profitable,
fly off?
No, I doubt it.
No? Okay. I wonder where they get their aeroplanes from. Fender?
China.
Where did they get their airplanes from? I don't know.
Don't start that. Don't start any of that with the China. I don't even know China doesn't even know what China's doing. They just wake up every morning. They're like, oh, we got 52-week lows. We got 2-year
Again.
lows. It's like,
And going.
it's like, this is amazing. It's like, this is great. All right, Bender, chart us, buddy.
I will give it a shot here. If I start breaking up, you can just skip to Stonkington because things are not stable.
All right, Stonkington, you're on deck, buddy. You're on deck.
You got to
Are
be
you
ready.
Oh, baby.
Just in case.
Things are not stable around here this morning.
He's not stable.
All right, so here's a 60-minute chart. This blue box right here is the current gap that if we were to open right here where we sit, this is about where we closed yesterday. So this is the gap, and you can see they gap it down below this 47.67, this little swing low here. So I kind of want to see what they do with that after taking out that level. Be really important to watch flow this morning. See down here, you got a 60-minute fair value gap. That is 47.48 down to 47.39.5. So if it wants to continue downward, if this area in here becomes resistance, I would look for it to come down and test this fair value gap in here. Maybe that acts as a speed bump and it ultimately comes down here to 47.15 if this area in here doesn't hold. 47.85.25. You can kind of see where that shift took place, right? This level right in here acting as support. Finally broke down, came up, became resistance for this push lower. So at this point, if you were looking for up or, looking for a sign that, okay, maybe this is what they wanted to do. On an hourly chart, you're looking for a move back over 47.85.25. You want to see a hourly candle close above that. That would kind of look like a market structure shift on a 60-minute. Right now, everything is obviously kind of pointing down. We left this fair value gap behind, traded up into it, unable to get through it. So that is the current program until we see otherwise, right? So, when you look at the 60-minute chart, you're like, okay, it took out these levels. So now I got to see if there's a reaction. But for now, the direction is lower. They can shift that quickly. But that's kind of how you have to go in, or at least me, kind of how I have to go into this. Zoom in a little bit to the 15-minute. Again, same level down here. Got the same area right in there. And the same 47.85.25 showing on the 15-minute. I would say that same level, important. If you're looking at 15-minute candles, same story. Want to see it above that. That becomes support. You do have a volume imbalance right in here and a 15-minute fair value gap that we've left behind on this candle down. So I think initially on the open, if it trades up into here, you kind of got to be thinking maybe this is a short opportunity to come fill in some of this stuff down here, depending on flow, right? Again, maybe this was the goal or the objective was to take this out, but whether you want to short it or not, when it bounces back up into here, there'll be somebody there trying to sell it, would be my guess. So keep an eye on it as it gets into here. Watch this volume balance right here, around 47.76. Kind of look for the reaction to that volume imbalance. You know, a lot of times we get those and you'll see, you know, if 15-minute candles or even 5-minute candles are closing below this, you got to kind of have your head on a swivel that, you know, it may come down lower. If it gets through this and this becomes support, I would look for this to get taken, that 47.85.25. And then above that, you've got gap fill, and you can kind of see this area right here being a lot of stops from overnight action. Right, this was yesterday close and just after the close. So you could see stops at that 47.85.25, 47.91, and then 4,800. And I think that's about all I got. Hopefully I did not break up and everybody can hear me and all that good stuff, and I can pass it over.
Yeah, that was good.
You did really good. You did really good. So are you looking for a bounce or to come down in that pleasure box down there?
I don't know yet. I'm looking for reaction 47.67.50. Kind of see what it does, but like I said, right now direction is down. So, you know, gun to head, I'd have to say I'm looking for it to come down here until I see that shift in market structure.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, stick with the direction that it's currently moving and be flexible enough to realize when that turnaround happens. And you go, okay, that's not the program anymore. That's it. At this point, you know, day to day, I kind of start with, all right, this is the current situation. But I don't really, you know, try not to put too much weight on. I want to try to take a stab at which direction it's going from here, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. We make money up and down, so who gives a shit? Just be ready for those turns, and be observant, and don't get stuck in thinking that, you know, the direction that you chose. Well, I'm wrong. If I say down and it goes up, then I'm wrong. No, you're not. It just decided to switch direction. They switch it up. Who gives a shit? Don't matter.
That is a good mindset. I like it.
Thank you.
That would be your turn, Stonks.
That would be my turn. All right. I think I'll need Bender to.
Oh, yeah.
His share.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. Discord thinking. Come on, Discord, you could do it. All right. Here
Old is just getting hustled.
Okay, here we go. We'll start with our Larry Williams check-in here. So we're here on the IWM. Microsoft Edge, I talked to you up yesterday. Don't do this now. All right. Here, so we had yesterday closed below the prior day's low, so this would be possibly a long setup on the IWM. We would need to get back over yesterday's high, and we'll have an alert set on that one. You know, it could already be invalidated here because the stop point would be yesterday's low, and that's going to be the same case here on the SPY and the Qs. And my computer is not wanting to do this today. There we go. Yeah, SPY. So SPY just barely closed below prior day's low, so we would be looking for the break above yesterday's high, but we're already below that low. We were looking yesterday at the weekly, which we would be looking for a break below last week's low on the SPY. That would give us our smash day to the downside because we had the weekly candle close above prior days or prior week's high. So I'm going to move this alert